Hi, this is Graphically Alex coming at you with all things fat related. If that's something that interests you, please subscribe. I'd love to have you. So, today we are going to be reacting to this article by William. He wrote this for Easter, I believe. I just kind of left it there because I wasn't that interested in it. But as I always tell you guys, I have a migraine. And I kind of knew this one was coming. This, I hope, will be the last one of my reverse dieting process. At least it's been officially 8 weeks since I concluded that, so it should be done, I hope. But I was expecting to get one today and I did. So yeah, but that means that whole process of the cut and everything should be done at this point. And I do want to say that for the first time, and when I say that cut, I mean the one I did in the spring. What I do want to say at this time is that I actually have had some visual progress with like muscle showing finally since November. So basically, like, my journey was very strict in November and December, where I was working very hard to not upsize during those months. And then from January on, I started actively trying to rebuild some of the muscle I lost back in the autumn and late summer last year, and also build more at a lower weight. And it was really tough. It's been a horrible process. I've basically been in the back rooms of vanity downsizing because I've been doing so much body recomp, which that's been in large part what the Kesha era has been, which is like a more shallow vanity calorie death. It's kind of just like my weight has mostly stayed the same. I've mostly stayed around 215 since I started eating closer towards a maintenance, so to speak. So from my low in October, I was like 207. And when I started eating more and that kind of stuff, you have your glycogen and all that crap, I started eating a lot of starch too. Then it went to about 215, and it's just stayed there pretty much forever in a state of purgatory, even through a cut, even through all this stuff. But with the muscle coming on, the weight staying the same, the fat still being lost, it's finally showing. So it takes forever. I will be going into my next era in November. That will be the Olivia era, the recomp era. So that's where it's explicitly recomp. But as you know, my different eras, there is a bit of a blend. So this moment in time is the conclusion of the cal def aspect, or that shallow cal def aspect of vanity downsizing in my Kesha era. So now I'll be like transitioning over to pure recomp, but I'm sure I still have a little bit of residual hormonal stuff from this vanity era. And I have a lot to say. As I told you guys, I have 2 activistic videos coming up for the Kesha era. So I think it's just important to talk about what I've learned during this process. It's been a huge learning experience on so many different levels, and I want to report that to y'all. I also am interested in reacting to more dieting content or content involved with that. So, when you guys asked if I could like react to a video of somebody talking about stuff from like a vanity place or a mid-sized place, those types of areas, rather than like the super morbidly obese one I did with Ethan Bernard. So definitely, if you see anything, send it to me. I'm interested in that. And I do want to cover more of the Seraphites and the Wolves in the last few months of my Kesha era. I've definitely done a lot of the zombie activity, but I think it's important to talk about the health sphere aspect too, and how groups of those people organize, and just my overall thoughts on that stuff, as I have a lot of experience with vanity downsizing at this point. And yeah, I'm just relieved to finally be seeing some progress visually after 8 months. So that's all I have to say with this moment. But let's get into this. Stop projecting. Oh, I also want to say too, before I finish, because I have been doing body comp so much, the muscle is causing my expenditure to go up. So I have this very slight CalDEF, and it's becoming less slight. So that's also why this is still the Kesha era, because I'm still feeling the deaf aspects. And it'll probably be a few months until it shifts, basically, into that hard recomp Livy era. Okay? So I have a method to my madness, basically. But regardless, let's get into it finally. Stop projecting your feelings of failure onto your child's body. A gentle reminder, updated to fit any holiday. So he did this for Easter. Okay. Your children can hear your thoughts when you stare at them wishing they were thinner. They hear them loudly. They feel them deeply. The searing looks brought on by the next bowl of cereal, the next helping of dinner, the indulgent enjoyment of the Easter chocolate that cannot conceivably have been purchased just to be thrown away, are not so subtle even when you think they are. Your cutting glances effectively communicate your personal shame. But it isn't just about you. Your children feel the shame you project more deeply than you do. It's a shame you are likely familiar with because you were made to feel it too. So he's talking a lot. He talks a lot about E fall by the letter D. I call it the toxic ritualistic on the channel. And he is really talking about this in terms of how it's passed down from generation to generation. I've told you guys my theory about it very often, but basically there is a genetic component, but it is indirect. So that genetic component is more so you absorb or you inherit certain neurotic qualities from your parents, and that neuroticism can be put upon your body easily, especially if trauma has activated it. You can hear the migraine speech, the way I talk when I have a migraine. But anyways, so I think it's more than just glances and looks. There's a genetic component to it as well, and a traumatic component to it as well that he's not acknowledging, particularly if it's something brought on from childhood, and if it ends up being severe. It's usually trauma-based in that case, the vast majority of the time. So all I'm saying is that a look is not enough. It can set a foundation for the toxic ritualistic, but that's all it will ever be. Whether it becomes a full-blown issue, that's yet to be stated. You know, it's yet to be told. It's a future that's yet to be seen. So I will agree with him in the sense that you need to get over your own issues if you have kids, because they do see your struggles. They do see your issues. Kids are very attuned to that. And also your behaviors around consumption and exercise and these kind of things will also be easily mimicked by your kids or internalized by your kids. So I do agree with him in that sense. So if you have a problem, you need to get out of that problem, and you need to model getting out of that problem, period. Because then your kids will also see you get out of it too, right? So anyways. All right. Nonverbal interactions like this occur all the time when adult children join their parents for holidays, re-entering the environment where they learned how to think and feel about food in their body. I wonder if that's why he was doing this, because he went home for Easter or something. And holidays come with festive food, cakes and cookies and breads and candies, the sort of food that we are told to feel guilty for eating. Okay. Any child raised to feel food and body shame knows immediately what your raised eyebrow or enlarged eyes or flared nostrils mean. In confrontational families, these nonverbal cues lead to emotionally charged conversations and vicious arguments. In avoidant families, these feelings get swallowed down and still leave everyone feeling terrible. I don't know about that. Okay, let's talk about this again. So remember, within the TR, William is deeply in it. Okay, he's got a lot of issues, clearly. it's easier to talk about body issues than to talk about real issues. So if he's talking about his family, if his family is emotionally charged or avoidant or these kind of things, and he just went home for the holidays, that's something that he would need to work through. And I would suggest not thinking about food in your body when you're working through it. Like, actually work through the issues at hand and address things head on. And a lot of people don't want to do that in the TR. That's a part of it, is you use it as a distraction. You have to remember that. So anyways, these interactions have the potential to ruin holidays, ruin relationships, and ruin lives. These interactions can cause slips or relapses for those in blankety blank recovery. These interactions, therefore, have the potential to end lives. So your recovery, sorry, I think it's starting to rain. Your recovery is not anybody else's responsibility. It's just not. If you're waiting for somebody to save you, it is something that is self-inflicted. I do think people should support you. I do think people should not co-sign your bullshit and not co-sign your delusions. I think feeding into a delusion of somebody within the toxic ritualistic is evil. Okay, I think it's really bad, and I think that can lead to death, or it can help push somebody towards their death. But for you and your recovery, it is your responsibility to recover, even if you have no support at all. It doesn't give you any kind of excuse to not recover. There is no excuse for not recovering. This is something that you are self-inflicting. And even if people try to reinforce you and all that stuff, you still have a choice on if you're going to listen to them or not. So I'm not going to give you that out, period. I'm not. I think it's awful when people reinforce, but I think it's important to understand what's happening when you are being reinforced, and you need to not internalize it. You need to protect your recovery. There's a lot of things you need to do as a person, and I'm not going to take that responsibility off of you. More than anything, this is a self-inflicted thing. Therefore, it is up to you to stop it. You're the one that has to stop. Okay. If you're reading this and have been on either side of this experience, you are not alone. Whether you played the part of parent or child in this scenario, you likely left feeling angry, upset, confused, and a storm of other negative emotions. If you are forced into the role of the criticized or have ever been, I'm so sorry. You deserve so much better. Your body is your business alone, not something that should be up for discussion or criticism. So I would argue your recovery is your business. So whether or not people are supportive of it, which of course I would look for people who are supportive of your actual recovery, then you need to recover regardless. It is what it is. You build your life around it. Especially if you're severe, you have to build your life around recovery. It's just a huge thing. So just know. Anyways, and you have to learn how to handle criticism in general. People do in general, because it's inevitable. It always happens in life. It doesn't mean that you have to change everything. It doesn't mean that you have to hate yourself or anything. It doesn't even mean that you're not good enough or anything like that. But it is going to happen. Criticism happens all the time. And I don't think that I'm not going to tell you that you're going to enter into a situation where you're never going to be criticized in recovery. That is not going to happen, especially if people in your family are in the issue and are choosing not to recover. You will not go without criticism. So you have to toughen up. You have to be able to let it slide off like water off a duck's back. You have to do that to survive. So I try to talk about it very, very realistically. And we can't control what other people believe about food or whatever. We can't control other people's behaviors around that. So I'm not going to tell you to try to control everybody around you. That's probably not going to work out for you. You need to not be engaging in it yourself. Period. Your recovery is your responsibility. Period. Okay, that does not mean not to seek support, but it does mean it is still your responsibility to seek support. Okay? That's something you need to do. So find people, find professionals, find whoever who will actually help you get out of this And if somebody is talking haze and talking BS and all that stuff, then you need to find somebody else. It's not good. Okay. Anyways. Or don't listen to that part at the very least. Your body is your business alone. Da, da, da. Okay. And while you might find this piece cathartic or see your wants or needs addressed in it, you're not necessarily the intended audience. This is for your loved ones who make you feel ashamed of your body. Let's afford them the chance to change and see the necessity in doing so. So without further ado, hello to those of you who take it upon yourselves to critique the bodies of your children. I want to assure you that I know that you love your child. I know that you genuinely want what is best for them. And I believe that you deserve credit for having good intentions, despite, in this case, not having a good impact. William, I think you need to talk to your parents. I think you need to talk to your parents. This is just... I also want to assure you that you are the one who needs to change, not them. Everybody can change. That's wonderful. It's wonderful for everybody to change, but a person within the toxic ritualistic absolutely needs to change, period. And whether that's a parent or a child or whoever, they need to change. So I would agree that everybody in this issue needs to change, but that includes the person that is recovering. They also have to continue to recover, even if they aren't supported. Okay. You might be thinking, no, you don't understand. They need to lose weight. That's the whole issue, but it isn't. So many parents look at their children as products of their parenting. You look at your child's successes and feel those successes as your own. Sure, and yet we know that we tend to feel our negative feelings far more strongly than our positive feelings. Therefore, what you perceive to be your child's failures, you feel them strongly as your own failures. And I'd argue that a lot of us feel like failures as a default. So within the toxic ritualistic, a parent and child relationship, a parent sees their child as an extension of their body. It is DIS ordered, absolutely. This is not a good thing. It's not normal, but it's just not really, you have to understand when you have that mental health issue, you can't look at things clearly. You can't look at everything clearly, certainly if it comes around food, body, etc. And even certain emotions like shame, I've told you guys, sometimes when it's severe, it seeps into different belief systems that you have and it turns into like this whole thing. That's more at a severe level. But even at a mild level, when we're keeping it to like food and body, a parent cannot separate their body from their child's body. They can't. That's why some of your harshest critics in downsizing, some of your harshest critics in weight normalization, food behaviors, etc., tend to be parents because they can't separate it. And it makes sense. You're extremely closely related to them. If zombie activity, as I call people in the issue zombies on my channel, if zombie hordes see a random woman on the street that's fat as themselves, do you think that they're not going to see their child as themselves? They can't. If Adele loses weight, then it's an insult to the fat person. So of course, if that person's child were to lose weight, it would be an insult to them. It's so obviously going to be an issue. So I'm telling you, if you are the child in the dynamic, it is inevitably going to happen. Inevitably going to happen. Your parent cannot even help it. If they're in the issue, they cannot help it. So that's why I tell you, as a parent, you must get out of it yourself. It is extremely important for you to fight it in yourself and get out of it yourself, because you basically will have no choice but to project it onto your child. I think it would be almost impossible not to. And it's because you feel so close to your child. You feel so close to the person. You're so closely related. It's so hard to not, you just can't. It's just not going to happen. So he's saying this, and I'm like, I think if your parents have an issue, William, you need to support them in getting out of that issue, or not reinforce their issue, which he wouldn't, because he's totally in it and he's reinforcing everybody. But that's what you need to do, is like call out your parents' bullshit over and over again when it comes to this specific topic, when it comes to food, when it comes to body, when it comes to haze and all that stuff. You call them out. That's not true. You could lose it. You just don't want to, etc. You have to just say those things, and they don't like it, but it doesn't matter if they don't like it. That's medicine for something like this, you know? Okay. Anyways, not giving into the delusion is medicine. It's the only thing that you can do as somebody outside of it. Okay. Anyways. So many of us never feel like we are enough. I ask you, is it possible that you're casting neutral aspects of your child's existence as failures to confirm your feelings about yourself? Do you search for flaws in your children as a sort of self-flagellation? I think he's talking to his parents. I don't know what his parents are doing. After all, are you not immune from feelings of you are not immune from feelings of worthlessness and failure, and it is normal to look for external evidence that your feelings are justified. You only get one shot at parenting any given child, and we're better to look for evidence of your failure than what is likely the longest and most consequential project you've ever taken on. Look, parenting is a lot of work. If a parent, what I will say as somebody who is not a parent is that when a parent has raised a child to adulthood, they have a right to their feelings about that experience, about how they did, about all of it. They earn that right. If they showed up, if they were there, if they were not an absent parent, if they took care of their child, all that stuff, they deserve the right to feel how they feel about the whole thing. That's it. If they feel like they failed, they deserve to feel like they failed. If you're an adult and they say that to you and it's an ugly conversation, oh well, you're an adult. You can handle it. You know, I don't think it's nice to say that to like a child who's like 8 years old, but if you're like 35, just suck it up. You're a grown ass adult. Even if you're 25, you're an adult. Get it together. Please. Take some criticism. You're going to live, you know? It's just like, it's just stupid. Ugh, this is making me cringe. Especially if you're not even living with them anymore, if you're not even like, it's just like, I get it if it's like abusive, too much, incessant, those types of things. I totally understand that. But if it's like a passing comment or like a look about a dish or something, I mean, that is just a crazy standard. It's just a crazy standard to any person. A person has a right to their emotions. You're too controlling, William. You're very controlling. It's like even somebody not saying something is enough for him. It's too far. It's too much. It's too high a standard for anybody. It's just crazy. Anyways. So let me make clear that first of all, if you're reading this article, there is a good chance that you care about being a good parent and that you did a lot of things right. There's also a decent chance that if your kids still visit you, you did enough right that they still care about you and love you deeply. I think that constitutes success on its own. You deserve to give yourself a lot of credit for that. And cut yourself some slack. You weren't a perfect parent because no one can be. No one has ever before raised your child under the exact set of circumstances under which you raised them. When you become a parent, you are in a completely unique situation. That version of that kid has never before been in your care, and you've never had to parent them. There will be things you do wrong, and there will be things you do right. The adult your child becomes will be because of and in spite of your parenting. And I would be so bold as to say that as long as you are genuinely trying your best to be a good parent, that is truly wonderful and something to celebrate. I think that being a responsible parent does involve not co-signing a child's toxic ritualistic bullshit. I think it does include healing your own if you have the problem. But I do think encouraging weight normalization for a child is something that a parent should do, even if that child is now a grown adult. Just because your child is grown up doesn't mean that you don't care about them anymore. It doesn't mean that you don't. And honestly, it goes both ways. Like, if you're an adult child, I think you should pressure your parent to weight normalize too. I think that's one of the few relationships where you should probably say something, you know? It's important. And there's a deep connection between that relationship, and there's a deep connection between, you know, weight and all that stuff. It's a very deep thing. So a lot of times if you have a parent that's in the TR and they're like, let's say they're in bingo, BINGE, and they don't believe that they could ever weight normalize, if you as a child do weight normalize, they will know that they can too. They'll be like, oh, I guess I could. And then they often will. So recovery can actually spread in families. It's one of the, like, as a parent or a child, you are in one of the best positions to intervene for somebody's toxic ritualistic issue, in my opinion. Okay. Anyways. Okay. You raise the child you raised. You will see yourself reflected in that child. You will see things you like about yourself and things you hate about yourself. You will see things that are a result of what you did and a result of what you didn't do. But looking for these things in the size of your child's body is immensely harmful to them and to your relationship. It is not lost on me that many of you were taught to feel this way about your own body and your parenting by your own parents. You have been the subject of such criticism. You know how awful it feels. But you also likely didn't have me there to scream at you through your screen that you are worth more than that and that your parents are wrong. This is your chance to break the cycle of harm of which you yourself were/are a victim. So I don't see it exactly like that. It's more so that you grew up in the zombie spores, you fell into the toxic ritualistic, or you chose it, depending on how old you were. If you were very young, then you kind of fell into it just because, again, we make blind choices when we're like 13, you know? But it's kind of like you have all that going on, and then you have all these internalized issues about your body. Then you project that onto your kid. You teach them to have issues about their body, and then it continues. It's not something that's like necessarily an act of choice. Usually parents don't want their child to suffer the way that they did, but they can't help them, or they can't prevent it because of their own issue. Because you have to cut it out at the root. And you can't fake recovery to a child. You can't fake it. They will be able to tell. They know you. And quite frankly, a parent knows their child too. So a child can't fake it either. It's a deep connection. But regardless, you have to reject it. It doesn't matter if it's been in your family for generations. It doesn't matter. It needs to end today. It needs to end now. You can be a cycle breaker. Anyways. Your child's body size is determined by so many factors: genetics, metabolism, social circumstances, environmental circumstances, mental health history, physical health history, and more. Their body is something that they exist with every moment of every day until death do them part. It is the vessel through which they experience the world, especially once they are adults. Your child's body is theirs to be concerned about, theirs to feed, theirs to move, and theirs to have feelings about. I'm just going to say this. Calories in, calories out. I'm going to just say that today. The migraine, I just don't want to do anything other than that. And even when they are young, your child's body is never truly yours. When your child is young, they are your responsibility. This is stupid, William. This is really, really stupid. It is never your property. It is never something that is yours to manipulate without their consent. You must protect your child. I don't have to tell any parent that because parents understand that. So, stupid, William. Anyways, it is your responsibility to take care of them when they are minors and in your care, but generally your adult children are not in your care. That's true. Your adult children are not in your care. That's true. Their bodies are no longer your responsibility. They have a right to criticize. Sorry. It's going to happen, especially if it needs to. If you are massively upsizing, your parents will probably say something about it and be like, what is going on? If they care about you, they're going to ask, you know? Your child deserves every right to their body and their bodily autonomy. Criticism is not taking away bodily autonomy. It's not nice. It doesn't feel good. I don't really personally like visual criticism. I've told you guys that a lot. I don't like it, but it will happen. It is inevitable. So I try to speak in real life circumstances when I do this channel. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that there's going to be butterflies and rainbows and nobody's ever going to say anything about your body. That's not true. It is going to happen, and you need to be prepared for when it happens, not if, when. And you need to have some psychological defenses and a toolkit to deal with it if it's triggering in the moment. So you need to prepare for that. It will happen. When you look at your child's body size and see your failure, that is a belief of yours that has been instilled in you. You have been taught by your own parents or by society at large that it is shameful to be fat or exist in a larger body. You've been taught a moral code about fatness and eating that is the nexus of our society's blankety-blank epidemic. Therefore, your obsession with finding evidence of your failure as a parent looks no further for validation than the size of your child's body. It's the same thing with any other bad habit. You wouldn't want your child to have any other bad habit. It's a bad habit, something that can be fixed. Stupid. It is something you strive to fix long past them being in your care by giving them lectures about eating or their body size when you speak to them. It is something you communicate through disappointed looks during heavy silences. Even your silence is too much for William. It's just like, oh my gosh. Like, William. Like, I think when parents are TR, they can talk too much about a child's body. Even an adult child's body. It's like everything goes back to that. That's obsessive. And that is toxic ritualistic as well. If that's all you talk about, if you don't connect with your child and all you talk to them about is their body, that's DIS ordered as well. So that definitely is weird and should be dismantled. That's stupid. But it doesn't mean that it should never come up in a healthy relationship. That is stupid too. Okay. It is something that is destroying them and destroying your relationship with them. You might try to point out that you don't want to feel this way. You just do. You cannot change who you are or what you believe. I'm here to say that that is simply not the truth. Beliefs can change. Thoughts can change. You just have to be willing to do it, and you absolutely can. I promise. Your child, on the other hand, is likely not capable of the change you seek. Downsizing is nearly impossible long-term for the majority of the population. This is false. Over half a century of long-term peer-reviewed studies have come back with roughly the same findings that over a period of 5 years, 95 to 97% of people who pursue intentional weight loss will regain all of the weight that they lost in that period. By the way, William, I'll be at 5 years next August. That's when the first weight was coming off. It's been a long time coming. It's been a long time coming. I have to say that because he's a Swiftie. And I know that pisses him off. But anyways, that 5-year mark is coming up. So anyways, blew past the 3-year period. Blew past that. Because they say 3 to 5 years most of the time, but he puts 5. Anyways. Furthermore, around 66% of those people will upsize more than they lost, giving their body weight a new natural set point. That's a myth. Set point theory is not true. The new weight their body metabolically strives to maintain. False. To sum that up, not only is your child extremely unlikely to downsize long-term at all, but that downsizing pursuit you are wishing upon them could lead them to being in a larger body than the one you are currently citing as a source of your failure. That is superstitious. This is toxic ritualistic AF. This is chain email logic for my millennials and older. How can you look for valid evidence of failure where success isn't even possible? False, William. Gaslighting, William. Furthermore, the pursuit of downsizing is the number one predictor of blankety-blank development. No. There's so many people that downsize that don't have an issue. So no. Are hardly impactful mental illnesses that can be deadly. They are the second most deadly mental illness behind opioid addiction, claiming a life every 52 minutes in the U.S. alone, and that is only based on the data we have. Blankety-blank are under-researched in many populations, so it's likely that these numbers are significantly higher. When you make your judgment of your child's body size known to them, you are increasing the risk to all of the above. No, they aren't. It depends on the quality of the conversation. And again, it depends on if you have an issue yourself. If you do, then yes, you are probably reinforcing your child. If you don't, then you're going to have a logical conversation about it, and it will be okay. All of that to say, no, your child cannot change their body. This is false, William. This is where your argument that you are struggling with their body size as much as they're struggling with your comments falls apart. No, because you're wrong. The struggles you are both going through here are not one-to-one in comparison. Your issue is not on the same playing field as theirs. One is a belief you hold and one is their body. Excuses. One impacts you and also them, and one is only theirs to be concerned about. One could be changed and the other will change, as all bodies do, but cannot be changed. So it can change, but it can't ever change to be downsized. Stupid, William. Stupid. Why is it always only going one way, William? Because you're fucking wrong. You're dumb. You can change your beliefs. They cannot change their body. But you just said that all bodies are going to change. Oh my gosh, this is where I would start fighting with him if I knew him. He drives me nuts. It'll never be the cure. The cure for your turmoil over their body is not for them to downsize. It is for you to change your perspective and educate yourself. There are many resources I recommend to help you change, and I've listed them below. I leave you with this. Your relationship with your child does not have to be this fraught. The fight does not have to happen again and again. You, the parent, alone have the power to change this. I am genuinely wishing you healing and a better relationship with your child through this perspective and sending you a lot of love. Gosh, it's freaking Aubrey Gordon. Okay. Anyways. Yuck. Yuck, yuck, yuck. That's all I have to say. I'm going to go, though, because migraine is migraining. I will talk to you guys later. Have a good day, night, etc. Peace. Bye.